In today's episode, Russian airplanes fly into Finnish airspace again. Finnish UN troops in Lebanon have to open fire to disperse crowds again. And Finland gets into the space arms race. Welcome to another Finnish Gear Reviews video. Today we'll be taking a look at what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to in the month of June of 2025. In incidents, like I just said, Russian airplanes flew into Finnish airspace once again outside of Porvoo. There were 2 planes last month, so in May, and then in June there was 1 plane that flew in there. And as a reminder, Porvoo has the Kilpilahti or Sköldvik oil refinery, and this is where one of the Russian Shadow Fleet oil tankers was detained earlier in the year. Finnish UN troops in Lebanon, once again out on a patrol, were halted by crowds, and the troops had to fire some warning shots to disperse them and to let the convoy pass. There were no injuries to the Finnish UN personnel, but some of the vehicles were damaged. And then we also have a less severe incident. There were 13 military police from the Pori brigade received varying degrees of hearing damage when a blank went off nearby them. For procurements, Finland is getting into the space arms race by acquiring satellites from the domestic company called ICEYE. Currently, ICEYE provides weather data to governments, but they are also providing satellite imagery to Ukraine. Finland has not had any satellites for defense purposes before, so this is a great step up. And the ICEYE satellites, they are able to provide data no matter what the weather is. So it doesn't matter if there's cloud cover or not. The Defense Forces are acquiring 15 firefighting vehicles from Scania Suomi for 15 million euros. And this is most likely based on seeing the type of attacks Russia is doing in Ukraine, where firefighting vehicles are very important to have as drones are smashing into civilian infrastructure. Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark have signed a letter of intent to participate in NATO's multi-role, multinational tanker transport fleet. What this means is that these nations are going to either outright acquire airplanes that can be used for air-to-air refueling, or come up with some type of a lease deal with another NATO ally. So this is in order for the Scandinavian or the Nordic countries to be able to perform air-to-air refueling, strategic transportation, and medical evacuations. So this will be a huge step up in our capabilities. Next up, we have Finland, Sweden, Norway, Lithuania, Estonia, and the Netherlands have signed a letter of intent to acquire Swedish-made CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles jointly. This agreement also includes supporting Ukraine with CV-90 deliveries, and for Finland specifically, it's also how Finland would be able to produce certain components for the vehicle. In the next few years, 11 European countries will be fielding the CV-90. In deployment news, the mine layer Hämeenmaa is participating in the NATO-led exercise Baltops 25, which started on June 5th in the Baltic Sea. 40 ships from 16 countries are participating. In export news, a new report regarding military equipment exports for 2024 was published. In total, there were 432 export permits granted to 52 countries. The total value of these were 1.4 billion euros, which is up from 2023. In 2023, there were 667 million euros in exports, so this is more than a doubling in 1 year. The largest export nation was Sweden for 672 million. Saudi Arabia, surprisingly, on second place for 150 million euros, and then third, 115 million to the United States. In innovation news, Finland has signed the NATO Innovation Range Agreement along with Estonia, Italy, Latvia, Netherlands, and Sweden. The agreement aims to speed up development of dual-use technologies. So dual use is something where you have a use for the civilian side and also the military side. And for Finland specifically, this would be regarding communications technology. As you may know, Nokia used to be very big back in the day. That was a Finnish-based company. And still to this day, Nokia has some cutting-edge 5G technology. So most likely, we would be tapping into that know-how. And for all you gamers out there, speaking to myself right now, the Häme University of Applied Sciences has developed an integrated e-sleeve that's used apparently in esports and how it can be used in the military. So far, it's been tested twice, and it's been shown to be very useful in urban environments. So if you are aware of the ATAC software, usually if you see pictures of people, they might have a tablet or a phone strapped onto their plate carrier that they can flip down, and they can see locations of units. They are able to communicate, even get live video feed from drones. Basically, this sleeve is going to be integrated into the sleeve of a combat top. So instead of having a flip out here in front of you, it would be integrated into a field jacket or a combat top. And then we have some news from Patria. They have successfully completed test firings of their Arve 155mm self-propelled artillery gun. It's based on an already existing 155K98 field artillery system that is in use by the Finnish Defense Forces currently. And this has now been integrated into the chassis of a Sisu all-terrain truck. It's fully domestically produced, and it is modular and fully compatible with the current artillery fleet. For exercises, the NATO's Dynamic Messenger 25 exercise was ongoing in the Baltic Sea with testing all kinds of drones in the air, on the sea, and under the surface. 3 US companies brought 12 surface drones, a French company brought 1, and another French company brought 5 underwater drones to Finland to test it. And these are mainly to increase surveillance in the Finnish territorial waters. Finland is also hosting the Atlantic Trident 25 exercise, and with it, for the first time, we have RQ-4D Phoenix drones in Finland. In total, there are 40 airplanes with 1,000 personnel participating from Finland, UK, and France. For promotions, over 1,000 officers in the reserve were promoted on the 4th of June. Congratulations to everyone. In miscellaneous news, the Defense Minister has granted the National Defense Training Association of Finland, or MPK, Maanpuolustuskoulu, 1 million euros to support additional training. This is on top of the already granted 8.4 million euros for the year. Reservists are getting a pay raise of approximately 2 euros per day. So officers are about to swim in money when they get involved in refresher exercises, because they will be getting 75 euros and 27 cents per day. So I don't know what they'll be able to spend all that money on, but good luck, guys. In more MPK news, the National Defense Training Association of Finland, that's a mouthful, is starting large-scale drone training for both conscripts and reservists. They're aiming to have 100 trainers, and currently they have 50. They will train people to use both traditional quadcopters and FPV drones. 9,551 conscripts are moving into the reserve, among them 409 women doing voluntary military service. Congratulations and welcome to the reserve. Some more Patria news. Patria celebrates opening of a F-35 production facility in Jämsä. The production line will produce large-scale assembly of the F-35 forward fuselages as part of the global F-35 supply chain. In politics, 2 foreign purchases had their purchases rejected by the defense minister. There was 1 individual from Israel, and then there was a Chinese-owned company. And this is due to the properties being in areas that are sensitive for national defense. In cooperation news, Iceland, UK, Norway, France, and Denmark are participating in developing forward land forces in Finland. The forces will mainly be in Rovaniemi and Sodankylä areas, and the ground forces will start their operations there now in the summer of 2025. And last but not least, Finland is delivering its 29th aid package to Ukraine, worth 143 million euros. Up to date, we have aided Ukraine with 2.8 billion euros in defense materials. And what's interesting about this one is that this is for the first time that Finland is delivering equipment that has been ordered from domestic producers and delivered to Ukraine. So the previous ones, it has been a lot of stuff that has already been stored, but this should all be completely brand new equipment that's been ordered from the producers. And that is it. That is the recap of what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to in the month of June. I hope you enjoyed this video. There was a lot of stuff that we went through. Leave a comment about what was your favorite piece of information. Tell me if you think that we are going to have Russian airplanes in the Finnish airspace in the month of July as well. So far, we're coming up to the end of July. I don't think there has been any, but hey, there's a week and change left, so they might as well try to sniff out something important once again. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes, and all the shares. Yeah, if you have a buddy that wants to know what the Finnish Defense Forces were up to for some odd reason, share it with them. I got nothing else for y'all. Thank you for watching, and we'll do this again in a month. Bye.